Good evening. Good evening. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk. This is episode 428. Thank you to all of my listeners, my supporters, my viewers, everybody who's been providing feedback, commenting, sharing, subscribing, talking about the content, liking, engaging, posting, reposting. All of this support is much appreciated, and I don't take any ounce of it for granted. Um, this is a passion for me, and it really means a lot for people to provide the feedback to let me know that they've been changed, or they have acquired some sort of self-awareness, or they were entertained, or gained something from anything that I created or posted. So thank you to all of you. And tonight we are discussing the importance of internal balance. Internal balance. We live in a time where we are more busy than ever. We are more mentally occupied than ever. We are more emotionally exhausted than ever. We have obligations, responsibilities, we have tasks, we have calendars, we have checklists, we have deadlines. And it can feel as though we don't have much control. We are swept up in the undercurrent. We can feel like this is our normal. This is what's supposed to happen. This is a part of life, it's a part of adulting, so to speak. And at some point, we may internally give up on a better life. We may give up on the promise of rest and revitalization and relaxation without anxiety about the future. And at some point, we may wave the white flag and just think that this is our life. And then, in creating that normalcy, in surrendering to this hyper exhaustion, we find solace in being able to complain about a lot, or to be able to tell people about how much we've gone through. That becomes our pride and joy, to be able to say that we've going through more than most people, or we have more on our list and more on our plate than most people, or how we're more overwhelmed than most people. And it gives some people the temporary boost to know that they have been through more and are going through more currently, but that has disastrous results in the long run. It may make you feel, from a competitive standpoint, better than somebody else, or more capable or stronger than somebody else. But is that the metric? Is that what we do? We want to be more exhausted than the next person? Do we want to be closer to death than our counterparts or colleagues? I don't think so. So with that being said, what do we do? How do we achieve balance in such a busy world, in a busy space? Well, my answer to that would be achieving internal balance. See, our internal world is reflected in the external world. What we create inside becomes reflective outside. So we may think that we can't get out of this rat race logically, or we may think practically, or we may think, well, I can't quit my job. My job is busy, so I don't have any options, really. And I would argue there that there's much to be said uh, for creating the internal balanced state. And we have to do it by force. Let's be honest. If we're that busy, the break isn't going to create itself. The space isn't going to create itself. The opening isn't going to create itself. We have to create and forcibly open up that space. But first, we have to do it inside. First, we have to create a sense of calm, a sense of peace, a sense of tranquility, a sense of positivity, optimism, positive expectations, positive self talk, acknowledgement of achievements, acknowledgement of personal victories, successes, personal accolades, creating that internal reward system for what we've already accomplished. Let's stop right there. Before we jump into something else, let's focus on what we've done. Have some pride and some personal praise in that. Take a day off and not use that day for appointments and going to the DMV to get something done for the car and running errands, and because that's not a day off. We got to be honest with ourselves. We need to first take the space and allow for us to be able to create an internal, tranquil, unapologetic, highly bordered, highly protected space. Um, we got to create one before we can duplicate one, because this is a space that you're going to have to go to frequently, if not daily, because that protected space that's high mood and highly predicated upon feeling good and having those positive mood spaces is going to give you the ideas that are going to get you out of the rat race. They're going to give you the energy that's going to cause different circumstances and give you the added access to intuition to be able to avoid things that will put you in further momentum into exhaustion, but to give you openings and pathways and breakthroughs and epiphanies that are going to get you to your desired space, the goals that you have, what you always tell yourself inside. I wish it was different. I wish I worked less. I wish I had more time to myself. I wish I was, had better, had financial freedom or anything like that. Those things come from that first tip of that initial domino, so that you can create that domino effect. Because right now, a lot of you are in a negative momentum. You're into a momentum deep that isn't serving you, but it's probably serving everybody else. It's probably serving your job. It's probably serving those around you. It's probably serving loved ones. It's probably serving friends and associates. But it's not necessarily serving you. So we have to create momentum the opposite direction. But it starts with one spark. It starts with one day off, one space, 20 minutes, 30 minutes long, 1 hour, that's unoccupied or that is highly protected against interference. I think a lot of times we think, well, I took a day off, but if that day was occupied with anxious thoughts, it wasn't a day off. If that day was littered with errands and other projects, it wasn't a day off. So we have to get to a space where we are able to truly clear ourselves internally. And it takes practice. It's not something that I'm saying, tomorrow night you're going to be able to completely clear your mind and things like that. But, this is critically important, because the outer world and your reality and your existence will not be able to change if you cannot change the internal energy and the internal structure, and the nucleus of why your personal existence looks the way it looks. This comes from you and everything that you've experienced, everything that you've come through, everything that you've seen, everything that you have done or has been done to you. All of these things play a role, and they have rolled you right into your current space and current reality. So now it's time to start to maneuver the other way. Start to swim against that current. And by doing so, you will be able to create a new current. This is controllable. There is more control than you can imagine, but you have to, number one, realize and wake up out of the matrix and realize that this may feel like your norm, but it's only that as long as you allow it to be that. It's only that as long as you're okay with it and you allow these things to continue to happen. You allow your joy to escape you. You allow yourself to prioritize everything except for you. You allow yourself to be constantly on the go and never inside of your body, never prioritizing raising your mood levels and being concerned with the natural alarm systems that we all have. When our emotions are going awry, when we're triggered and we're physically feeling certain ways, those are alarm systems, and we keep hitting the snooze thinking that we just got to keep things the way they are. We got to keep our efforts the way they are, or else everything will collapse. And that's a fear-based mindset. So we need to work against the fear. We need to work against the overwhelm, against the exhaustion, against the acceptance of a normal that is not beneficial to us long term and does not include all of our manifestations. And that never ends either. So even when we get the things that we want, we're going to keep creating. We're going to keep wanting more, and that's part of the process, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, it's about, do you feel your best even in a work week? I think sometimes we get used to starving for the weekend or praying for the weekend, and I would say there's still more work to be done if you want it. If imbalance is something that you want to continue to choose because you value being able to outperform others in the complaining category, if you find more value in being able to tell people how bad your last week was, or how much you had to go through last week or yesterday or today in an effort to obtain attention, because that's the only thing that gives you some semblance of feeling better than you already do, I would say there's better for you available if you're willing to take it. It doesn't end there, and it doesn't have to. So the focus has to be balanced. The priority has to be balanced, and it starts internally. When you work internally, the external has to respond. You don't have to have an idea or 30 ideas to get yourself out of this rat race or out of this current, you know, busyness or all of these things happening at the same time. You don't have to solve everything that's thrown at you. You have to take the leap of faith to know that in that stillness you will find ideas. In that stillness you will find the mood spaces you need to be in. In that stillness you will realize what's more important. In that stillness you will be able to prioritize the things that really matter. In that stillness you will be able to find your balance and your peak levels. And then from there, everything else is just dust. Everything else is easy to move through. But it starts with the letting go. It starts from unhanding and unhinging and disconnecting yourself from having to be the all and being the person who has to maneuver around and be successful in an imbalanced obligation cycle every week or every month. We don't have to. The goal shouldn't be to be able to be successful in imbalance. The goal is to find balance and allow the rest of your reality to kneel in front of you and yield your desired lifestyle, your desired outcomes, your desired feeling spaces. This is the goal. So for everybody listening, I hope you guys understood. Hopefully that resonated. Thank you to everybody who came through. I see Dawn in the building. I see Erica. What's going on? Warmer Black. What's going on? Good to see y'all, man. I appreciate everybody coming through. Um, Major things on the way. Can't speak too much, but working on a lot. Got some big things coming. But really appreciate the feedback. Really appreciate the internalization. That's really the big thing. Hopefully you guys are internalizing all of these different topics and all of the content, because again, it's about consistency, which changes the former structure and allows you to be your best self, and you know helps to continue to boost your emerging self, and help you to continue to grow and change and be able to manifest the things that you deserve to acquire. So thanks again. Hopefully you guys have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow evening.